What's up, everybody? CHM Carnivores here. I hope you're having a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend. Today on the bog, we're going to focus on Drosera. Are they dead or are they just dormant? Now, many of you may know or may not know that when Drosera go dormant for the winter, they will go all the way down to what's called a hibernacula, and they will lose all their leaves and they will all die all the way back to these little buttons on the soil. And so please don't toss them when that happens. But there's another time that this happens as well, and that is when things get particularly stressful for a Drosera. Now today what we're going to look at is some Filiformis who have done that look for all intents and purposes dead, but that are not. And so I'm going to show you what to look for and how to check if they are dead. And so what we have right in front of me is a group of leftover sundews that I had in this little tray, and the tray dried out because we're going through a very, very bad drought for Florida, at least here. And so water is a little hard to come by, and so these dried out. And so what ended up happening is the Filiformis died all the way back to here. See these crispy little leaves here, right? There you go. And so they went very, very crispy, and so they look like they were completely dead. Now, if to the untrained eye, you might toss those things thinking that they fried, and that was all she wrote. But I gave them a little bit of water, and then we had a rain, and then just in a matter of days, you start to see this. See that little green sprouts right in the middle of your screen? Here's another example of it over here as well, if I can get the phone to focus right there. Now, what that is a stress response by the Filiformis or any other type of Drosera. The leaves have died all the way back, the plant has died back, but it is still very much viable in the roots. And so what they'll do is they'll conserve their energy. Now, if it stays too dry for too long, they're going to cook them for sure. But if it's only a short period of time, they will die back and start to come back up once you start receiving once they start receiving more water. And so that's exactly what you have here. Here's another example of it that's coming up. And so here is another example. This one is actually another Filiformis, but this was all the way dead, all the way back to the soil. It looked like it was completely dead, and now it is starting to develop again. Now, Capensis will do the same thing, and what it will do is it'll die all the way back. It doesn't have a hibernacula, and they do not need to go dormant, but as a measure to protect themselves, they will die all the way back, whether it's cold or if the conditions aren't favorable, and then they will start to come back to life from their old shoots and or roots. So, side note with Drosera, they are very, very easy to propagate from their roots, and because of this, their behavior of growing out new sprouts from their roots also helps them survive in less advantageous conditions like a drier bit of weather. And so that's what we have here. These have come back from the hibernacula, but it's not necessarily the most obvious hibernacula like you would see in the winter. They are simply storing that energy in the roots to come back. Now, you do not want to let these things stress out too much, and don't make it a habit of letting them dry out. But normally we'd be getting a ton of rain this time of year, but we have been getting barely any here in Florida. And because of it, we've had a lot of wildfires, and it's been pretty bad. But they are very, very hardy. So here's an example of a Capensis, and this soil is very, very dry. I'm going to go try to water it now, and as you can see, it is still living. It is producing a flower spike, if I can get it to focus, and that is probably more than likely a stress response. A lot of these plants will produce flower spikes when they're happy, but they will also produce them when they are stressed in a last-ditch effort to try to keep going with their seeds. And so that is probably a better example there of what that is doing. All right, so you want to try to keep water in here. Here's a good tip if you're going through a drought like this and you don't have a lot of water. If you put them in these trays at the bottom, it will dry up pretty fast, especially in a sun like Florida. And so what you can do is just top water with the Venus flytraps. Just make sure that you don't get it on the crowns too much, but Drosera, they will do just fine top watering them. Sarracenia will do fine as well, but that's just a little trick. It helps conserve water, and as long as they're a little bit moist onto the soil, they should be just fine. And these plants can handle quite a bit. These are little babies that literally sit out here in this blazing hot sun all day. And now there is some that are not doing so hot, right? But for the most part, these plants are used to that. And so even these tiny little baby Sarracenias are going to be able to survive this extreme heat and low water level. And so these bog plants are very, very hardy. And so while not all will make it, quite a few will. And I'm gonna go now and water these plants. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask in the comments, and I'm happy to help you. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day and happy growing, and don't throw out your plants before it's too late. Lastly, as an afterthought, if you want to check, just go ahead and dig them up and make sure that their roots are nice and viable. Most of these roots will be black, and they will have a greenish color tip on the end or a white color tip. As long as the root is firm and not mushy, you're good to go. And as long as that whitish color tip on it is good on there, you're very good to go. Then it's a very healthy root. All right, have a great day. Bye-bye.